So let's start. If this is the truth of works, the first thing the sadhak has to do is to recoil from the egoistic forms of activity and get rid of the sense of an I that acts. Okay, so this is what he's saying now. What is this truth of works? The truth of works is that you are not doing anything. It is the universe, it is rigid laws that is doing the work. Okay, mechanically, nature is acting. Okay, this is this one. Yeah. So mechanically, nature is acting, and you are thinking that you are doing everything. But the universe consists of the matter, life, and mind. And there are laws which are applicable in these three realms. And they are slightly, in the physical world, the laws are very rigid. That is the reason why physics can be so easily, it can forecast so many things. Okay? It can forecast the rising of sun tomorrow. It can tell you when a solar eclipse is going to come, even after 10 years, 20 years, because there is a rigidity, a rigid law. You can easily forecast. Okay, but in the life world also there is a rigidity, but it is less rigid. The laws are more flexible there. Okay, more flexible. Then we come to the mind level, and the mind level also there are laws that operate, but they are also more flexible than the life and definitely more flexible than in the physical world. So remember this, that there is a gradation of the flexibility also. As you keep rising in consciousness, you are less and less bound and less slave. The animal, there is absolutely no freedom in matter. The electron has to submit itself to the laws of physics. The animal also has to submit itself to the laws of matter as well as the laws of life. But when man comes in, he has a little bit more of freedom. But that freedom is largely what he thinks is his ego, and that's an illusion. He is also very much controlled by his body, his vital, and his mind. Controlled by the body is very easy to understand because you know if you are hungry, you have to eat. The body is saying, I need food, and you have to obey. When the body is tired, you have to sleep and you obey. So you are a slave to the body. You are a slave also to the desires of the vital, and you are also a slave to your mental habits. But you don't see that. So this is the truth of works. The truth of works is that you are not the doer. You are only you are the puppet in the hands of nature. And nature is threefold: material, vital, and mental. When you go beyond these three, then you become Trigunatita and you become free. Who becomes free? Not the body, mind, life, but your soul. Because the soul here is identifying itself with body, mind, life, therefore it is not free. But the moment it stops identifying itself with body, mind, life and goes up into the spiritual planes of consciousness, then it is free. But the body, mind, life continues to be a slave to the laws of nature. So that's what we're saying. So if that is the truth, one who wants to rise in consciousness and do yoga, he has to get rid of the I. So first of all, you have to become conscious of the I. What is this I? I, mine. So you have to become very conscious that each thing that is coming, from where is it coming? If it is coming from the ego, try to deny it and get rid of it. You can try as much as you want, and trial does help. Okay, trying does help. It's not that you can't, but it's a way of going to the right truth of things. I read the next sentence. He has to see and feel that everything happens in him by the plastic conscious or subconscious or sometimes superconscious automatism of his mental and bodily instruments, moved by the forces of spiritual, mental, vital, and physical nature. So exactly what we discuss here, Sri Lanka is giving the whole and all the planes of consciousness, okay, beginning from physical nature, vital nature, mental nature, and spiritual forces also. But there is an automatism in all this, okay? And that automatism can be conscious or it can be subconscious. We know, for instance, that habits are from the subconscious, they come, and habits are exactly that. And sometimes superconscious. Superconscious means in the above planes of consciousness, even the divine is submitting himself to the laws of all the lower planes. Okay, so and all this is little plastic. It's not absolutely. You are a plastic slave. You are a slave to the laws of all these different planes of consciousness. Okay, so the word plastic is interesting because it could be what you are doing or what you are thinking is coming from many, many places. It's not one fixed thing. The fixed thing is only at the physical level. But the moment animals come and human beings come, the source of your action can be from physical, it can be from vital, it can be from mental, but it can also be from above. Okay? That's the whole thing because the cosmos is actually controlling. The cosmos is sending all vibrations into you and you are being controlled by that. Okay, so, but there is an automatism, but that automatism is several levels, he has told you. Okay, the levels he has actually listed. He has started from the top, spiritual, then little lower down mental, then even lower down vital, and finally physical. There is an automatism, but it is plastic. Okay. Again, we come back to the idea of gradation. Nothing is absolutely fixed. Okay. There is a personality on his surface that chooses and wills, submits and struggles, tries to make good in nature or prevail over nature. Okay? You try to make good in nature, you try to adjust yourself to nature, or even you want to conquer nature, you want to be master of nature. But this personality is itself a construction of nature and so dominated, driven, determined by her that it cannot be free. So look at the sentence carefully and look at all the words and understand it. There is a personality. Sri is not using the word person, he is using the word personality. Personality is your outer nature, your body, your mind, and your life. Okay? On his surface, your body, mind, life is only the surface. And you feel that you are choosing and willing, submitting and struggling, and trying to make good in nature or prevail over nature. Prevail over nature individually also, when you are trying to conquer your own anger, you are trying to prevail over nature. At a more social level, at a more universal level, man also is trying to prevail over nature. Na? So this is also interesting that when there are floods, you try to control nature. Okay? When there are storms, you can't control the storm, but you can know from where it is coming and where it is not coming. You try to improve on things. Okay? So you try to control and become master of nature, individually as well as at a collectively. But this personality is a construction of nature. So nature with an end cap, not individual nature, but universal nature. Okay? And universal nature is again only these three planes: matter, life, and mind level of consciousness, mentality. Okay? So this nature is that with an end cap. So, but this personality is a construction. Note the word construction. Your body is constructed by nature. Okay? Your body is constructed from matter. And your vital also is similarly constructed from vital nature, universal nature, and mind. So it's a construction. And all that is constructed in the physical world, nothing is permanent. So it is subject to destruction. Okay? So your body will be destroyed at the end of life. Your vital also will dissolve and go away. Your mind also can be dissolved and go away. Sometimes the mind does not dissolve and the vital also does not dissolve. When the vital does not dissolve, you have the phenomenon of ghosts. Okay, and you have the mind also. When it is highly developed, it tries to realize its own thoughts, and it enters other minds and tries to realize itself. Okay? That's an interesting thing. See, I'm mentioning that. But this person is a construction of nature and so dominated, so driven, determined by her. Determined means absolutely no freedom at all. You are determined by her. That it cannot be free. So this, which cannot be free? Your personality, not the soul. The soul is a person with a PCAP. Okay, so that is how he distinguishes between outer nature and the inner soul. This personality is not free. It's a formation or expression of the self in her. Okay? Who is a her? Nature. It's a formation. What is the formation? Your mind, life and body, as well as your ego. It is a personality that he's talking about now. It's a formation. And that formation dissolves, just like your body, mind, life also dissolves. Exactly, it dissolves when you go to the second level of the spiritual planes of consciousness. It's a formation or expression of the self inner. The self is your true being, which is above, or it's also the psychic being. Also is not really the self, but the psychic being is an ambassador of the self. Okay, and the self is a Brahman consciousness. It's a self of nature rather than a self of self. Very interesting. So everybody is playing with words. Self of nature is the essence of nature is your body, mind, life. Okay? Rather than a self of self, not the Brahman consciousness. So, is natural and processive. You know the word processive, very interesting. There is a process that happens in the body, there is a process that happens in the vital, and there is also a process that happens in the mind. They are the laws. Whenever there is a process, it is law. It's a law that is operating, not his spiritual and permanent being. Which is a spiritual and permanent being? Twofold. It can be the psychic being, but it can also be the self. The self is above. The psychic being is in your body. It comes down into the body, mind, life. And what is it? It's a temporarily constructed personality. What is a temporarily constructed personality? Your ego, not the true immortal person. Now note he is saying person with a PCAP, that's your either the self or the psychic being. They last forever. Okay? They don't dissolve like the body, mind, life, or ego. It is that person that he must become. Who is a he? The sadhaka. He has started the paragraph with the sadhaka. So he whenever he is saying he is a sadhaka and her is the nature. It is that person that he must become. Not the body, mind, life. Not the personality, but the person. He must succeed in being inwardly quiescent, detach himself as the observer from the outer active personality. Okay. Again, he is using the words outer active, because your soul is not active. Passively, it is, the self is definitely inactive. Okay. Immutable is the word we use. The self never acts, it only looks. It is a consciousness aspect of the thing, knowledge aspect. It does not act. Okay. Outer active personality and learn the play of the cosmic forces in him, and by standing back from all blinding absorption in its turns and movements. So, what we are normally, we are blindly absorbed in our actions, our thoughts, and our desires. So, but a yogi starts separating himself from the body. I am not the body, I am consciousness. I am not the vital consciousness either. I am more in the mind. And finally, by stepping back and observing himself, he can become free. He can become the witness of his mental thoughts, of his vital feelings, and his bodily actions. But he is not acting anymore. He is only watching. And Sri is saying, You become an observer. You remember Sakshi. You become the Sakshi. Thus, calm, detached, a student of himself and a witness of his nature, he realizes that he is the individual soul who observes the works of nature, accepts tranquilly her results and sanctions, or withholds his sanction from the impulse to her acts. Now, let's look at this. When your consciousness, you realize that you are not the body, mind, life, you are only watching and separating yourself, and you go to the spiritual plane of consciousness, the higher mind, and you become a witness. Very calmly, you are looking at yourself. See, when we are at our level, sometimes we feel disgusted with our own thoughts and even our vital feelings. Sometimes most men don't. Most men approve fully of their desires and their anger and their jealousy. They justify it. But if you are beginning to be a little more observant about yourself, you feel that there are certain dirty thoughts that come into the mind, dirty feelings that come into the mind, jealousy, envy, enmity, okay? All these things are things which you don't like in yourself. Why should I have all these things? Greed, possessiveness, okay? Dominating over others, all these things you start watching. But you may feel a little depressed when you are in the normal consciousness. But if you are in the witness consciousness, you become the self, you are not judging anymore. You are just judging, seeing and understanding the nature of these things. Oh, all these feelings which I did not like, they are only laws that operate in the vital world. They are there everywhere. So I am just watching. I'm not. So either you just watch from above, or a time may come when you feel, I don't want these things, and you withdraw from them. So either you sanction or you don't sanction. Okay. When you don't sanction, slowly, the nature of your vital will slowly go on changing. This is how it happens. I think I've told you before also. It's a very interesting image. Your nature is acting because your soul is permitting it to act. But that's also another thing you may wonder. Why is the soul permitting all these wrong movements? Because the soul is not seeing them as wrong. The soul is seeing them as movements for knowledge. Okay? You want to see, you want to have knowledge. So therefore, every action that is there, you are judging it to be good or bad, but actually it's just giving you knowledge. When you make a mistake, you learn. Okay? So that's the thing. That is observing. But a time may come when you feel that no, I don't want, even in my body mind life, I don't want these wrong thoughts and wrong emotions. I don't like jealousy. I don't like all these things. I want to get rid of them. Then you stop the energy flowing to your body mind life. And when you stop the source, it's like a machine, a flywheel that goes on moving, but now you are not giving any energy to it. So slowly, it goes on for some time and then you come to a stop. Okay? Like your scooter, as I said, I gave the impression of a scooter. When you are going on a scooter, your destination is 100 meters away, you want to save petrol, you switch off the engine. When you switch off the engine, that's a permission that you are giving to your body, mind, life. Does the scooter stop immediately? No. It goes on rolling because the energy given to it, the permission given to your body, mind, life continues for some time until finally it dies down. So this is the thing. So the soul looks at these things and sometimes permit them. Okay. For instance, if you've got aspiration, the soul will permit it. But if you've got jealousy, the soul will say, no, I don't want. I want even my body, mind, life to become perfect. So you withdraw the sanction. That's what Srimad is saying. At present, this soul or Purusha is little more than an acquiescent spectator. It's agreeing to whatever the body, mind, life is doing, influencing perhaps the action and development of the being by the pressure of its veiled consciousness. The soul or the Purusha is changed in two words. Soul which is a psychic being, or Purusha, which is above. Okay, Purusha is the self. Okay, first of all, it's an acquiescent. Acquiescent means it agrees. Okay, it's quite compatible with what's happening. It just looks and approves, influencing the action and development of the being. He has told you earlier that even from spiritual planes and mental planes, there is a pressure. So that's why he's saying you can influence. Okay? Influencing perhaps. And so they're saying perhaps because it's not always like that for everybody. Okay? So the action, whenever Srimda uses the word perhaps, he's showing his flexibility. Okay? It can happen, it need not happen. It is perhaps the action and development of the being by the pressure of the veiled consciousness. Why? The self is veiled. We don't see it. Neither do we see the soul. It is veiled. But for the most part, delegating its powers or a fragment of them to the outer personality. Outer personality, body-mind life. When you look at a person's body-mind life, you normally can't judge the quality of the soul. But something comes out. There is a slight, there is an influence of the soul on your body-mind life. In fact, to nature, for this outer self is not the Lord, but subject to her. Anisha. Okay. Now, this is a very interesting word. Anisha means not Lord, but subject to her. Anisha. Isha is Lord. Anisha, not Lord. You are a slave. So if the word Anisha is a slave, why do people use the word for their names? Okay. So it's got another meaning, okay? Because in Sanskrit, we have this samasana. So Anisha means Yasya Isha Nasti. The one who does not have an Isha, the one who does not have a master. Anisha. Okay? So if you see it in that way, then you are the Isha yourself. So Anisha can mean not Lord, but it can also mean the Lord. This is a very interesting feature of Sanskrit, okay, that it has two opposite meanings. Very often it is there, because there's a gradation. All the words in Sanskrit there's a whole gradation. I see that every time. Okay, so here, yeah, tell me.
Can it mean one who is desireless?
Desireless, absolutely, because if you have desires, you are not Isha.
No, Anisha, can it mean Isha means one who doesn't have desire. Instead of God, we replace it by desire. Does it mean that?
Yes, because you can be Lord only when you don't have desires. Huh?
Oh.
Oh, Isha. Oh, the word Ish. Okay. You're talking grammatically. Okay, I understand.
Yeah, from Ish.
No.
Icha.
No, I don't think the word in Anisha is like in the Isha Upanishad. Okay, but you are right that Isha is a dhatu, which means desire, to want. Yeah. Here it's not like that. Isha is, as I told you, words in Sanskrit. Why in Sanskrit, even in English, the one word can have several meanings.
Yeah.
So in Anisha, the dhatu of Ish does not come in. Okay. That is, it does not. But once unveiled, it can make its action or refusal effective. If the soul comes in, if the self is reached, you have the choice of changing your nature or not changing it. Like there are many who say, I don't care about the body-mind life. It is something that will disappear. So why bother about it? But Sridhar is saying, no, we want integral perfection. We want even the body-mind life. Remember that the matter, life and mind also are divine. So why should they remain imperfect? At the individual level, even the body-mind life can become perfect. And in the universal, the body-mind life or in the universe, matter, life and mind will slowly go towards the divine through a long evolution. But the individual evolution can go much faster. Okay, so This is what he's saying. Even if for a long time, as a result of fixed association and past storage of energy, not the word, the habitual movement takes place independent of the Purusha ascent. So even if you have reached the Brahman consciousness, the body mind life will continue with its old habits. So be very careful. If a man is realized and he knows who he is, he may act in a very imperfect manner. So you shouldn't judge him. Okay? That's why the Gita says, Ajananta Mam. Okay? They don't know me. Mama Bhuta Maheshwaram. I am actually the Lord. But people don't judge me because they think that I am only the body mind life. So Srila is very clearly saying, even when you have realized yourself, your body mind life for a long time will continue to act in an imperfect manner because of the past storage of energy. Whatever you have done in the past, it is still going on. You know? Just like the scooter which is switched off does not stop immediately. It goes on. Okay, so this is very interesting what you say. So, the habitual movement takes place independent of the Purusha ascent, and even if the sanctioned movement is persistently refused by nature for want of past habit, still he will discover that in the end his assent or refusal prevails. So you have the power even to make your decision to stop these wrong thoughts and wrong vital movements. You can become master. It's not that you need not become master, but it will continue for a long time. Okay? It will continue for a long time, but that doesn't mean to say that it's impossible to stop. It can be stopped. Fully, it can be stopped only when you reach the supermind, not before. Still, he will discover that in the end, his assent or refusal prevails. Okay? Slowly, with much resistance, or quickly, with a rapid accommodation of her means and tendencies, she, nature, modifies herself and her works in the direction indicated by by his inner sight and body. Her workings, nature's working, body, mind, life. His inner sight, the psychic or the soul. Sight, inner sight or body. Not interestingly, it can be sight. It's only the witness set or volition. You will it. Thus, he learns. Who is the he? The sadhak. Sorry. Thus, he learns in place of mental control or egoistic will, an inner spiritual control which makes him master of the nature forces that work in him and not their unconscious instrument or mechanical slave. You are a mechanical slave when your psychic being is identified with the body mind life. But when you realize your psychic being or actually more the self, then you are no more mechanic slave, but you become master of the nature forces. The word used is usually Swarat. Swarat is you are master of yourself. You are the emperor of your own nature. But when you become Swarat, you find that you can also become Samrat. You have what? Power in the physical world also. You can do all sorts of things. You can cure people. You can force things on others. All these powers that come in. Ashta Siddhis. Okay? Anima, Garima, Latima, Mahima. Okay? Prakamyam. You can get whatever you want, desires. Aishwaryam, lordship. Then also Kama Vashayitva. Okay, all these things. You can bring people under your control also. All these powers come in. So, finally, above and around him is a Shakti. Above him, definitely the divine universal Shakti is there. But around him is the universal force. The universe is the around him. Is the Shakti. The universal mother. And from her, he can get all his inmost soul needs and wills if only he has a true knowledge of her ways and a true surrender to the divine will in her. So, even the universe will give you all these things if you surrender to her. Surrender, the divine will take care of you fully. Finally, he becomes aware of that highest dynamic self within him and within nature. Now, very clearly, the highest dynamic self is a supermind. Okay? Because highest is okay, even the overmind is highest. But the overmind is not dynamic, it's only semi-dynamic. But dynamic self is a supermind. Within him and within nature, even in nature, there is a supermind which is working, which is the source of all his seeing and knowing, the source of the sanction, the source of the acceptance, the source of the rejection. Or you become master of your own nature. This is the Lord, the Supreme, the one in all, Ishvara Shakti. You, at the highest level, Ishvara and Shakti become one. At the lower levels, no. Your soul is Ishvara, but it's not Ishvara at all. It is subject to Shakti. And at the highest level, they become one. Consciousness and force become one. Ishvara Shakti. Of whom his soul is a portion. This is phrase in the Gita also. Ansha Sanatana. You are a portion of the Supreme Soul, of whom his soul is a portion. A being of that being, a power of that. The rest of our progress depends on our knowledge of the ways in which the Lord of works manifests his will in the world and in us and executes through them the transcendent and universal Shakti. In the beginning, you are a slave to your body, mind, life. Then, when you try and observe yourself and do yoga, you can become the self. At that time, partly you may be able to control, but you are mostly not interested in the body, mind, life. You're just looking, you are at peace and absolute calm nature. You're looking down, nothing in the world bothers you. That's a huge progress already, because we get so disturbed so easily with things. But in the self, no disturbance at all. But you are not master of the body, mind, life. You can become master of body, mind, life also with calm and peace when you go to the third level. That is what should be said in the Bible. Okay? In the Gita, also this is implied, the three levels. The Kshara Purusha, which is your psychic being, which is mutable. The Akshara Purusha, the second level, which is the self, the Brahmic consciousness, pure and calm and untroubled by anything in the physical world. And finally, the third one, the Purushottama, Uttama Purusha. Uttama Purusha becomes Purushottama. There you have the power to control your body, mind, life also. So that's the parallel. It's 8:33. There were 7 minutes. So we can read the next paragraph. One of
Rangata,
yeah, tell me.
Rangata, what about the footnote? Footnote?
The footnote we read, did we not read?
We read the footnote, but we have to go through it.
Okay.
We did
Actually,
it last class. Can be repeated. We have done it last class, but it is important footnote, so it would be nice if you repeat it.
yes.
It was done in a very short form, no?
Yeah, it's true. What you're saying is true. I'll tell you, this is there, and look at the size of the footnote. The footnote is usually a very small one, but here it's a huge footnote. I'll tell you why. Because consciousness and force at the highest level are equal to each other. Okay? Consciousness and force. Okay? Chit Shakti. And that is Ishvara Shakti. They are equal to each other. Then at the lower level, in the middle, they become Purusha and Prakriti. Okay? And at the lowest level, they become soul and nature. Okay? This is the gradation that he is explaining here. So Purusha means the consciousness. And now that consciousness can be fully conscious of itself. At the highest level, the Purusha is a Ishvara. But in the spiritual level of consciousness, the Purusha is the self. Okay? And in the lowest level, the Purusha becomes your psychic being. Okay? But this Purusha is there, and the consciousness is there from the highest to the lowest. Even in matter, there is a consciousness. And that consciousness, we will call it Annamaya Purusha. There is a consciousness in the body, Annamaya Purusha. There is a consciousness in the vital, that's the Pranamaya Purusha. Then there is a Purusha in the mind. Okay, there is a consciousness in the mind. The mind consciousness is far superior to the vital consciousness, and the vital consciousness is far superior to the body consciousness. But note interestingly that consciousness is there everywhere. This you have to realize. Even the body consciousness is there. We normally don't think of it that way, but when you are coughing, you are not coughing with a mental decision. The body is coughing. And why is it coughing? Because there's something harmful in the throat and it wants to get rid of it. Sneezing is the same. Okay? So, this is the body consciousness working. They have gone this many times. Very clearly, there is a consciousness in the body. Okay? The very fact that the body says, I need food now, I want energy, I need food, you eat. So is the body telling you that you have to eat. The sleep also. All these are consciousnesses. Okay. So the best example of consciousness is if you look at the organs, you will see that. No? When your kidney is functioning. Okay. Fantastic functioning of the kidneys. It is separating the harmful elements from your blood and removing them from the body. How can that be without consciousness? Okay. Then there is another very interesting thing which when we were students, Jugalda told us. Okay. You know what's an ulcer, no? There were many doctors here, but the ulcer is because your digestion is done by certain, a little flexibly you take it, but certain acids which break down your food and it makes it more absorbable in the blood. So, but an ulcer comes when, because there is too acidic, you get an ulcer. Your digest, if you eat meat, your stomach is capable of digesting it, but your stomach is meat. Why does it not digest itself? It does digest itself because of the ulcers. But normally it does not because there's a coating that comes. Okay. So this is again consciousness, an example of consciousness. The stomach knows that it can be dissolved by the acids that are coming into the stomach, the element that will digest the food. So it coats itself, protects itself. Another example of body consciousness is the cut that you get and you start bleeding. The body immediately decides to seal the cut. So it actually makes it coagulate the blood. So this is all consciousness. So at the vital consciousness also, fear, for instance, is a vital consciousness. You have to protect yourself. Fear is a mechanism of protection to yourself. So mental consciousness, of course, everybody thinks that consciousness is mental, but that's not true. Consciousness is something fundamental. Okay? It is something that is there from the highest level to the lowest level, just like air or just like matter. It is there everywhere. Whether you are there or not, it doesn't matter. It is there. Consciousness, Chit, Shakti, Ananda, these are all things that exist by themselves. But they take different gradations as they keep coming down. Okay? So this is what this paragraph is saying, this footnote is at the highest level, consciousness and Shakti are both together. In the Life Divine, this whole business of Ishvara Shakti is there in 40 pages. Brahman, Purusha, Ishvara, Maya, Prakriti, Shakti. That's the chapter. So I'm telling you in very brief, at the highest level, consciousness and force are equal to each other, and that is Ishvara Shakti. At the middle level, they become Purusha and Prakriti. There is a consciousness, and Prakriti seems to be different from it. No, they are two different things. At the lowest level, the difference is immense. Your body, mind, life is one thing, and your soul is not even conscious. You are not even conscious of this. So there are two different things altogether. Soul and nature at the lowest level. At the middle level, Purusha Prakriti, and at the highest level, Ishvara Shakti. But the Ishvara and the Purusha and the soul are all the same thing. And the Shakti and the Prakriti and the body, mind, life are also the same thing at different levels. Clear? That's what he's saying in the paragraph. Okay? If you want more details, read the Life Divine, 40 pages. Brahman, Purusha, Ishvara, Maya, Prakriti, Shakti. Chapter.
Just going to say, Rangada, 40 pages you have summed up in few lines. 40 pages of the chapter you have summed up in few lines, I'm saying.
Yes, that's right. That is exactly what Sri Aurobindo does, you know. So he sometimes in one sentence he dismisses, but sometimes he discusses in great detail. So what you're saying is absolutely correct. This is what Sri Aurobindo does very often. Here he has condensed the whole thing into just a small footnote. Okay.
That's why I always request you, that those 40 pages you have described in 40 words. So if we get a gist of each chapter, then it's much better for our understanding. Those 40 pages go above your head,
Okay.
at least my head.
Okay. We do that. All right.
Merci beaucoup.
Okay. Au revoir. Have a nice day, everybody.
Thank you, Rangada.
Bonne journée, Rangada. Merci.